Hello, and welcome to another episode, a thrilling episode of PROG Review. And today we're reading. Oh no, we have to use our peepers for we is reading John Wetton, An Extraordinary Life. And yeah, it looks like I've rubbed my grubby fingers all over it. It's one of those covers. I'm not that greasy, honest. Yeah, it's one of those shiny covers, and so I've got smudges all over John's face, and he didn't deserve that. What is it? It's not a biography. Again, when this was first announced, somebody said, "Oh, it's a reissue of his biography," and it's not. It's not that at all. It's what we've seen previously. We've seen these books happen by these. I guess you'd call it a boutique book making company. This is on Rocket 88 Books. I think they did a Jethro Tull. They've done a couple of Jethro Tull ones. But they do kind of boutique limited edition book runs of all sorts of musical books, not just prog related. So when this was announced, I signed up for it. Got the there's two editions. This is like the deluxe edition, and it's signed by his widow and his son. And I think my name's in it as well as a helper, financial helper. I didn't realise that was a thing. That's not why I did it. I just got because I wanted to read the book. Because I thought this person online, one of the chats, said it was a reissue of the autobiography, and I blindly, I just signed up for it. But it's not that. What it is more of a book of remembrance. It's people in his life, not just musicians, but people close to him. Writing little memories, and some of these memories are anecdotal. Some of them are more personal, and again, I don't know. I mean, it's meant to be a celebration, but because of Wetton's various problems. Again, if you don't know, he was an alcoholic. He had trouble with alcohol. That looms large over the book, and again, depending on which entries you read, you realise that it probably hamstrung his career. Remember, music business, it's a shit business. To quote Les McQueen from the League of Gentlemen, creme brulee, you realise that his behaviour probably caused things to go against him. Plus, also the music business changed, and deals got pulled and whatnot. So there's a lot of that in it. There's a lot of fond memories. There's a lot of talking about his ability again, because he's a phenomenal bass player and singer. Again, somebody who has been in many different bands. That's interesting. And again, I mean, the Phil Manzanera entry is probably one of the most interesting, because he really does talk candidly, and he does talk about how he thinks that Wetton's alcoholism may have scuppered his deal with Geffen and Atlantic, and how they were so fond of him in Roxy Music that they were going to ask him to stay and cut him in on the royalty rate. But he said, "No, I'm leaving. I'm going to join Uriah Heep." And they were like, "Huh?" And again, Manzanera's entry is quite good. I mean, they're all good. They're all they're all coming at it from different angles. But yeah, it's one of those. It's a very fragmented, because it is just a collection of memories. It's a collection of very personal entries. You're jumping backwards and forwards in time depending on when these people appeared in his life. So it's a little bit jump backwards and forwards, and your brain has to. I mean, again, you read from his the entry from his first wife. It says, towards the end of their relationship, she's planning a intervention, and he just disappears, and you go, "Oh, that's interesting." And then they split up. and then you read the entry from the mother of his son, and then you go, wait a minute, this overlaps. He was having an affair, and then that's who he ran off with, So there's all this, your brain has to kind of do narrative gymnastics to kind of stitch the pieces together. Now, again, if there was an editor involved, I think they could have actually, they could have more editorialised this. So you have to mentally kind of, there's a lot of thinking involved when reading books like this to kind of get the chronology together. There are bits that are, that's just me. I'm trying. Well, look, we are. Oops, are we not pattern-seeking animals? We look for patterns wherever we are. But yeah, whilst it's a celebration of his life, you come away from it just thinking, and the alcoholism does loom large. Again, when was it? Mid to late 90s. It was well known. This is when the internet was taking off, and there were stories being posted on the internet about his problems, and and people were facilitating it, buying him drinks after gigs and whatnot, and it's difficult, and those people should be fucking ashamed of themselves. And so again, and knowing alcoholics and people with drink problems personally, it's a real double-edged sword, because addiction is an illness, but it also makes them do some terrible things, and it makes it very difficult for you to love them and engage them sometimes. So reading it I found it a bit of a tough, it's a tough read. It's a tough read. It's not a fun read, but then that's the nature of his life, and I guess it is unflinching, and that's good. That's a good thing. It's an honest appraisal. It can't all be awards. Sometimes you've got to have the brickbats as well, I guess. So if you're prepared to sit down and read all the anecdotes and piece it together in your brain, it's a challenging read, and if you've got any kind of heart, you're going to find it difficult. It's revealing. There's lots of details, lots of behind the scenes stuff. There's lots of music biz shenanigans to get your teeth into. If you're for that, there's lots of humanity inside there as well. So it's an interesting read. And again, you got to remember, 2016 was a bad year. We lost so many, from Bowie, Greg Lake as well. I think, was it Keith Emerson, Prince, George Michael. 2016 was a bad year for any fan of music. Oh God, it's. Would I recommend it? Oh, I don't know. It's made me feel a bit miserable. So no, but yes, but no. I want to thank everybody who took their time to write their memories. It must have been hard. It couldn't have been easy, and because it was hard for me to read it, and I feel upset talking about it. It's had an emotional impact, and books don't usually have that kind of, because they are personal recollections. It's just think again. I'm just thinking about it. It's just, of course, I didn't sit down and read it in one sitting. It's good because it's got a little string. It's got a little bookmark built in. I love books like this because I'm always losing bookmarks. Or I put my bookmark down, close the book, and then forget my place. So I love that. That gets extra star. That does. It's one of those things you can dip in and out of. You don't even have to read it in sequence. You can just say, I'll choose. You can just flick through it and open it up. That might be a good way of reading. Actually, I didn't read it like that. I read it. But you could, if you wanted, just read one anecdote a day. That might be the best way to approach it, because then it won't it won't be so upsetting, you know. So yeah, fascinating, really. It is fascinating, but if you've got any heart, it's very sad, because you do get a sense of the humanity and the suffering inside. You know, but there's good things too. There's victories too. It's not all sad. I don't really think it's all miserable. But it is an unflinching account of someone, and that's very unusual in the world of rock and roll. It's unflinching, and yeah, it's a shame that they didn't reissue his actual biography, because I know he did have one out. I don't think I ever got a chance to get a copy of it. I don't think I've read that one. So yeah, so that's it. John Wetton, Extraordinary Life. That's my opinion of it. I'm sure there's a Rocket 88 books. There you go. There's the link. I'm not going to put it because I don't make any money out of them. It's all about the money. So go check it out. And that's that. Thank you for watching. A book review. There's no more thing left to say. By now you should know what that is, and that is PROG on. And thank you, Mr. Wetton.